We are now just over 3 years since the Los Angeles Rams shocked the NFL world by sending former number 1 overall pick Jared Goff, a 2021 third-round pick, and first-round picks in 2022 and 2023 to the Detroit Lions for Matthew Stafford. The Los Angeles Rams are coming off a season that saw them get knocked out of the divisional round by the Green Bay Packers. Everyone knew Stan Kroenke was desperately looking to get over the hump and win his first Super Bowl since moving the Rams to Los Angeles in 2016. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions had just wrapped up another disappointing year, going 5-11. The Matt Patricia experiment had failed and he was fired after Week 12. General Manager Bob Quinn was also dismissed after the Thanksgiving Day loss. If you think what happens next makes the winner cut and dry, you would be massively underselling the aftermath of this history-altering trade.
It's only human for us to focus on the men involved in this transaction. Jared Goff had not lived up to the hype of being a number 1 overall draft pick up to this point. He struggled in his first season under Jeff Fisher, who was notorious for always going 7-9. He would then excel under the offensive genius that is Sean McVay, making back-to-back Pro Bowls in 2017 and 2018. His career with LA would crescendo with a trip to the Super Bowl in 2018. Unfortunately, that Super Bowl appearance, where they only mustered 3 points, would be the beginning of the end for Goff. While he was involved in multiple high-powered offenses, he was often viewed as a beneficiary instead of a driving force for those performances. After down years in 2019 and 2020, the Rams felt he had peaked and they were desperate to upgrade the QB spot. Matthew Stafford was taken number 1 overall back in the 2009 NFL Draft. He, like Goff, had dealt with a lot of adversity to start his career. He missed 19 games in his first 2 years with the Lions before putting up over 5,000 yards in year 3. Stafford also had the benefit of playing with a rare, and I mean a very rare, offensive talent in Calvin Johnson. Those two will go on to be one of the top quarterback and receiver duos in NFL history. The reputation around Matthew Stafford up to the actual trade was that he was an incredibly talented player who did not accomplish much. He had thrown for 4,000 yards or more in 8 of his 12 seasons in Detroit, but only had 1 Pro Bowl appearance and 3 trips to the playoffs with no playoff wins. Did these guys find success with their new teams and kind of rewrite their reputations? When looking at the results of the trade, it is important to remember that not all success is equal.
Matthew Stafford found immediate success following the trade. In 2021, the Rams would go on to win the Super Bowl in their home city of Los Angeles. They would beat the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20, winning his first ring and bringing the Rams their first Super Bowl since moving to LA in 2016. The championship gave the fans and the city a championship to rally around and made the team feel like they belonged for the first time since the move. Stafford's reputation was also completely revived after that magical season. He went from being considered an underachieving star to a surefire Hall of Famer. Jared Goff landed in Detroit under new head coach Dan Campbell, a man most media people didn't believe in after stating his mantra was biting off kneecaps in his opening press conference. Goff and the Lions would struggle in their first season. Goff threw for over 3,200 yards and 19 touchdowns, his lowest totals since his rookie year. The team would also go 3-13 on the season, finishing last in the NFC North. It would appear that everything the media had said about Campbell, Goff, and the Lions was true. So that must be the end of the conversation, right? Stafford came out on top because he won a Super Bowl and Goff reverted back to his rookie numbers away from McVay. Like we said at the top of the video, if you think that makes the winner cut and dry, you would be massively underselling the aftermath of this history-altering trade. Not all success is equal.
While the Rams did win a ring, they did not find sustained success. They are 15-19 since their Super Bowl win, and they are 0-1 in the playoffs. The roster aged quickly, and they have not been really able to replace departing stars with young talent. They would get bounced to the 2023 wildcard round by the team on the other end of that historic trade. The Lions improved from 3-13 to 9-8 under the second season of the new regime. Jared Goff found himself again throwing for over 4,400 yards and 29 touchdowns, his best numbers in 3 years. While that improvement from the team and Goff might seem modest, there was one key win in that season that sent a message to the league of what was to come. In Week 18, the Lions took on the Green Bay Packers, who was a team coming off 4 straight wins and just needed to beat the Lions to get into the playoffs. It was Aaron Rodgers' final dance with Green Bay, and the team was fighting to give him one last shot in the playoffs. The Lions killed those aspirations. Previous renditions of the Lions would have found a way to lose and send Rodgers back to the playoffs. This team held him 205 yards and picked him off to seal the game. The league was put on a notice that this team would never roll over again. In Week 1 of 2023, the Lions proved it again by beating the defending world champion, the Kansas City Chiefs. They would continue to prove it to a 12-5 record. Jared Goff threw for almost 4,600 yards and 30 touchdowns. The third most yards and second most touchdowns of his career. The picks they had received for Stafford eventually turned to Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Ifeatu Melifonwu, Josh Paschal, and Broderick Martin. All players who made key impact in helping the Lions win their first NFC title since joining the North in 2002, and their first title in 30 years. Jared Goff would get his revenge against his former team by knocking them out of the wildcard round while throwing for 277 yards and a touchdown. That would be the Lions' first playoff win since 1992 and their first home playoff win since 1957. The Lions would go on to beat the Buccaneers and have a 24-7 halftime lead over the number 1 seeded 49ers. While they couldn't keep the lead and their season came short of making a Super Bowl appearance, they did accomplish something just as great. They told the world, this ain't yo daddy's Lions, and Jared Goff doesn't need Sean McVay.
Matthew Stafford got his ring to validate that he wasn't just padding stats all those years in Detroit. When the time came, he could put a team on his back and be great enough to win a championship. He experienced immediate success and likely earned himself a gold jacket when he retires. Jared Goff proved that it wasn't McVay magic that made him a great quarterback. He could go to a lost franchise and be a key reason they found success. It didn't happen overnight, but he found sustained success in Detroit and built his own legacy.
But tell us in the comment section of who you think came out on top of this trade. Thank you so much for watching. We are the RFL Show.